Hey everybody, this is Matt, and in today's video I have for you a reaction video. This time we have a Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel May 2023 updated ban list for Master Duel. That's right, so it is just, at least here in my time, midnight on April 19. So we are just barely past the halfway point for the month of April, and we already have yet another ban list for Master Duel. So for those of you who don't know, we got a ban list at the beginning of April, which basically limited Gozen, Rivalry, Skill Drain, didn't touch Runic at all, right? And then didn't address any of the tier problem cards except I maybe put like Orange Light to 1 or whatever. We got a ban list like a week or two in when tier limit was released. All the tier monsters came out at 2 except for Rhinoheart. Rhinoheart was at 3. The field spell was at 1, and then all the other tier names, the ones that fuse, were at 2. Kikalos at 1, etc. So obviously I complained in my last Master Duel reaction video that the ban list at the start of April didn't do enough to address tier limits or to preemptively hit tier limits. So luckily they did do a mid-month ban list update with the release of tier limits that addressed some of the issues. So it's semi-limited everything, which yeah, still doesn't go far enough. And now, still like 2 weeks, like 1.5, 2 weeks away from the end of the month, we already have the announcement for the next ban list that will, that we're gonna have in May. So let's take a look here. I already read this, so it's not a live reaction. I'm not gonna lie like all the other Yu-Gi tubers. Oh, this is the first time I'm looking at this. No, every Yu-Gi tuber sees this for the first time. They fake their first reaction orgasm. I don't do that here. I've already looked at this. I already know what's coming. This is not my first reaction. This is not my live reaction. So I will not lie to you like others do. Anyway, yeah. So this will go into effect April 30th. So I believe the last ban list went into effect April 9th. So that is the ban list that was announced at the end of March for the month of April, right? And I think when tier limits came out, like a few days after that, then the ban list hit again, and we already have a third. So this is a third ban list in a month. Within a month. Like, we haven't even completed a full month. We're already getting a new ban list. And, of course, once again, Komoney is hitting cards that do not deserve to be hit. So let's start with the obvious one. So Instant Fusion is the only card to be forbidden. So obviously Instant Fusion is a full combo card. It's a one-of full combo for tier limits because Kikalos, to the hilarious surprise of not many people, but for some mind-scratching, mind-boggling reason, when Komoney designed tier limits, make Kikalos level 5, so it can be accessed by Instant Fusion, and yeah, made off of Instant Fusion, and then you can just full combo from there. Mind-blowing that they did that, right? They knew Instant Fusion existed, but again, like I mentioned in my previous videos, children designed tier limits, right? Not smart adults. Children, we're about 6 years old, right? Why do I say 6? Oh, people ask, oh, why do you always say 6 years old? Because they can at least claim they got 1 year of schooling under their belt, right? They're first graders, right? They got through kindergarten. They got 1 year of schooling. They think they're the hot shit, right? That's a qualification you need, right? They're 5 years old, they haven't had any schooling. But here you can say they theoretically had schooling because they're 6 years old. Design tier limits, right? So yeah, goodbye Instant Fusion. I mean, to be fair, Instant Fusion was one of those cards that are like way too good. It's like, back in the day it was like Metamorphosis, right? When you can cheese out fusion monsters without with like a weird effect. In fact, that would put Cyberstein on the chopping block. People have been talking about banning Cyberstein in TCG. Cyberstein is already a problematic card in Master Duel because it's a best of one and it's very sacky. It's a very sacky one of. So yeah, they decided, you know what, let's get ban Instant Fusion. One fewer starter card for tier limits. Great, so one fewer card that they can start their full combo. That's kind of, that's kind of weak sauce. I mean, yeah, Instant Fusion was somewhat of a problematic card, but it was only made problematic by other cards that came out because Konami is garbage at, balancing their game and anticipating things like this. So yeah, Instant Fusion is dying for the sins of tier limits. Which is hilarious because a lot of people called for this to be banned in TCG due to tier limits, and it wasn't. Instead, the TCG did the right thing, which was limit all the tier cards to 1 and all the Ishizu cards to 1. Done. Done deal. No need to fuck with. All of a sudden, nobody cares about Instant Fusion. How is that? Look at that. So They limit in TCG. They limit all the tier names to one. They ban Kit Kalos, and yet nobody cares about Instant Fusion anymore. Well, that's weird. What happened? What changed? Oh, maybe Instant Fusion by itself is not the actual problem card, but it's this specific archetype, right? Before tier limits, nobody cared about Instant Fusion. After tier limits, nobody really cared. But during, I guess they decided, this is the problem card we gotta hit. So, I don't know. This is just so bizarre. I believe Instant Fusion is legal in the OCG. Don't quote me on that. And in fact, if you have the actual truth on that, feel free to comment in the comment section whether or not Instant Fusion is banned in the OCG. It is still limited in the TCG as far as I know. So yeah, another card died for the sins of tier limits. Herald of Orange Light, another card that I did not think was an unfair card, also died for the sins of tier limits, specifically Shizu, right? Let's go to limited. So limited, King of the Swamp and Foolish Burial Goods to 1. This is so mind-bogglingly hilarious, right? King of the Swamp, by the way. Okay, so tier lists are running King of the Swamp because it searches in poly, which can help them unbrick some cards in their hand and start their combos. But also, if they milled it and they didn't have access to Kikalos, or they want to make Rukalos without making Kikalos, or whatever, they can use King of the Swamp to essentially be a fusion substitute. Now, King of the Swamp is not the only fusion substitution monster in the game. There's that the Witch with the Third Eye. There's that one light monster, Hex Core Light or whatever, Hex Core. There's other. The point is, there's other fusion substitution monsters other than King of the Swamp. King of the Swamp just has the added bonus that you can discard it to search poly, whereas the other fusion substitution monsters do not. They're just fusion substitutions. But the fact that King of the Swamp is getting limited before Havness, before Shiren, is just hilarious to me, right? Nobody gave a shit about this card before tier limits, and now Konami thinks we gotta limit King of the Swamp. It's gotta be done, right? It's just so funny to me. Like, why? Like again, TCG King of the Swamp is at 3. Tier limits is limited. All the tier names are limited. The Kikalos is banned, and tier is a garbage deck. It's a dead deck. And before that one dude in my comments says, "Oh well, technically tier is not a dead deck because some people still play it." Yes, some people still play tier in the TCG. It's not gone for good, right? When I say it's a dead deck, that means it's been obliterated. It's not gonna win. It's not consistent. It's just a shadow of its former self, right? It's a joke to play. If you're playing tier limits, that's kind of a joke at this point, right? Because any tier limits deck you make is gonna have like 5 tier limit cards in it, and all the other cards are gonna be like King of the Swamp, Kashtira, whatever, this and that. Like it's a joke. It's actually a joke. But anyway, yeah, King of the Swamp, not an unfair card, and yet it got limited while tier limits Havness was allowed to remain at 2, right? Funny how that works, right? Rhino Heart still at 3, right? Foolish Burial Goods. Are you effing kidding me? Foolish Burial Goods. All right, Foolish Burial being at 1 makes sense. So many monsters. You mill a monster, you full combo, and you just get everything, right? Like, literally, Foolish Burial is a starter card in Hero, right? Foolish Burial sends Shadow Mist. You get your Stratos, you pop off, right? Like, it's a combo starter in so many decks. Foolish Burial is. I get it. But Foolish Burial Goods? Like, okay, so let's talk about the actual applications, like the real world applications of this. So let's ignore tier limits for now. So before tier limits, who was playing Foolish Burial Goods? That random Sky Striker player who was running the Metal Foes Fusion package to draw 1 card, and Umi control, right? They want to Foolish Burial Goods the Ice Barrier so they can search their Kairishin, right? And then you had the Crystal Beast people who wanted to mill Rainbow Bridge of Salvation, which will allow them to search their Crystal Beast starter, usually Pegasus, and then typically their field spell, Necro Valley, right? But because the tier field spell got limited to 1, Terraformers at 1, a lot of tier players decided, you know what, we're going to run a mini Crystal Beast package, right? Consisting of Foolish Burial Goods, Rainbow Bridge of Salvation, 1 random Crystal Beast Tortoise because you need a search target, and the field spell, so that they have more ways of getting to their field spell. Because again, the tier limits field spell is honestly their most broken card. Like it's insane how broken that card is. Like honestly, like I think they could have left some of the tier names at like 2 if they just banned the field spell. Like that field spell is absolutely stupid. But yeah, so Foolish Burial Goods now, according to Konami, is a broken card. By the way, folks, and quote me if I'm wrong on this, King of Swamp and Foolish Burial Goods, just like Foolish Burial Goods and King of Swamp, right? All still at 3 in the TCG and the OCG, and they are not problem cards whatsoever. I don't see any world or scenario where Foolish Burial Goods will ever be at an unfair card or a broken card. Quite the contrary. But again, dying for the sins of tier limits. It's the same bullshit with Rivalry Goes and Skill Drain in the last. They were getting limited because of the sins of Runic. Runic was the problem. Limit the freaking fountain. Limit tip, right? Those are the cards you want to hit, not freaking Skill Drain, Rivalry, and Gozen. But of course, the combo, the single brain cell combo players on the Master Duel subreddit will have you think that, oh no, those were the problem cards, right? Even though they're literally at 3 each in the TCG, they were at 3 like not long before Runa came along, and nobody gave a shit, right? None of those decks were topping. As soon as Runa came along, they became a problem. Konami did not incorrectly identify the problem, did not hit Runic, they hit the floodgates. Same deal here. King of the Swamp and Foolish Burial Goods in no universe are unfair or broken cards, but because Konami wants you to spend your little gems on tier limits and wants tier limits to go another month being the top most played deck in the format, they're hitting King of the Swamp and Foolish Burial Goods. I never thought I'd see the day when these cards would get limited. Think about it. King of the Swamp. Go read that card. It is the most milquetoast card you can think of. Foolish Burial Goods? Like, really? Yeah, so, again, once you get Konami either doesn't understand the problem or they do, but they don't care because they want to sell gems and they want to keep this deck alive as much as possible, right? They can't limit the tier names yet. They will limit it inevitably because, again, tier limits was pretty much accepted and understood by the Konami game designers after it came out, of course, and the community as being a poorly designed toxic deck, right? That's why it was gutted in the TCG, that's why it was gutted in the OCG, and that's why it will inevitably be gutted in Master Duel, right? It's a terrible archetype, should never have been released, and anyone who spent their money on this deck are actually clowns. Like, you're actually a clown, right? If you actually spent money on this deck. But, I guess, again, some players need that crutch. Like, when they're bad players, they need that crutch of having a busted, overpowered deck to get them wins. Otherwise, they can't win otherwise. So, it is what it is. But anyway, yeah, I am staring at a ban list, folks, where King of the Swamp and Foolish Burial Goods are limited. Can you fucking believe that? Because I can't. I still can't get over the fact that these two cards are here. Instant Fusion, okay, sure. Instant Fusion is like Verde Anaconda, where every future card design is gonna possibly broken because of the existence of this card, right? I can kind of be okay with Instant Fusion. It's one of those maybe it should have been banned sooner than that. But King of the Swamp and Foolish Burial Goods, are you shitting me? What did these cards ever do? Right? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. That's what we've come to, folks. This is what tier limits is doing to the game, right? But, I guess we have another month of tier limits. But, I mean, April was, again, one of the easiest ranked ladder climbs I've ever had on Master Duel. And now it's going to be slightly easier, I suppose, because there's going to be slightly fewer Kikalos, full combos, slightly fewer, I guess, King of the Swamp into Rukalos, and then slightly fewer them searching their field spell, I guess. But yeah, this is just silly, honestly. This is so silly, so silly. But yeah, that's my reaction for this. I actually couldn't believe this when I saw this. I mean, you got to be kidding me. Cards can be sent limited. Change of Heart doesn't matter. This can go to 3. It will not change anything. I think Mind Control is at 3 in Master Duel. But yeah, Change of Heart is just slightly better. Mind Control, both those cards can go at 3. This doesn't matter. Kagari back to 3. That's hilarious because Sky Striker is a joke of a deck. Let's be honest. So what in Master Duel they have Engage at 2, Kagari now at 3, and Shizuku at 3, and I don't know where the other ratios are, but the point is, Sky Strikers are a joke deck, right? Come to 3, doesn't matter. It will never be nowhere near the power level that it used to be. The only reason I would have preferred this stayed at 1, and I would prefer to Engage stay at 1, just because Sky Striker players are super obnoxious, right? It's just to troll the players. I don't actually think Sky Striker is a that toxic of a deck. It's slightly toxic because a lot of their stuff is not once per turn, right? Whereas they should be. But I don't actually think the deck or archetype itself is that bad. It's just the players. I just enjoy trolling the Sky Striker players because they're kind of like some of the worst people imaginable, right? It's like waifu enjoyers, but just like it's like a because again they're kind of like lollies or whatever. They're like underage girls, schoolgirls. I don't know. It just creeps me out. Okay, I just don't like Sky Striker players in general. Even though technically Sky Striker is technically a control deck, right? Because you use spells instead of traps, right? But it's just the player base. It's just something's just off about Sky Striker players. So yeah, I don't know. You can put this at 3, but I still think it should be at 1, just for the lols, right? Thunder Dragonheart at 3 doesn't matter. Tenki at 3, I think it was already at 3 in the TCG. Supreme King Dragon, whatever, don't care. So yeah, sure, Pendulum, whatever. So yeah, we have so this is definitely one of the ban lists of all time. I will say that. Like, I guess I'm just dumbfounded how early it came out and it got announced. Like, really, like that's how quickly Konami reached his decision, right? They were seeing all the numbers, the data on Master. They're seeing like 80% of the players and like the rank ladder being 80, 90% being tier laments, right? Everyone playing tier laments, people quitting the game left and right, and they were quick to get to that conclusion. You know what? We got to limit that King of the Swamp and Foolish Burial Goods. That's the problem right there, folks. We got to limit these cards. Then that'll put things under control. That'll bring the player base back, right? This will reinvigorate the format. Limiting King of the Swamp and Foolish Burial Goods. That's what someone got paid a 5, possibly 6-figure salary to conclude, right? So, yeah, I don't. It's just amusing. Yeah. So another month of tier limits. We have that attribute festival, which will hopefully be we finally get a breath of fresh air away from tier limits. That should be fun. There's some regionals or world qualifier thing going on soon, which honestly they should not have that as long as tier limits is live, because that completely screws with the data, right? Because like whatever world championship they're gonna have Master Duel stuff at is not gonna include the tier limits whenever it happens. So why are you having qualifiers or like duels or like a system of choosing players for this tournament based on a format that's like 90% tier limits? It makes 0 sense. So I don't know. Maybe they recognize that and they fix that somehow, or they reconcile that. But yeah, it's things are pretty bad at Master Duel. I mean, I already got my diamond. I got my gems. I'll get my gems on the thing. I'll keep farming salty tier limit tiers. Because it's like the easiest time to deck build right now. When you know you're going to go against the same deck, it's so easy to deck build. So yeah, hilarious. Yeah, so that's my reaction to this hilarious ban list that just came out of nowhere. Kind of super bizarre. But yeah, it basically confirms that we have another month of tier limits that we're going to have to deal with. But hopefully after that, we'll never have to see this degenerate deck again in any other format, and we'll finally be, we'll put the final nail in the coffin, limit everything, ban kick hollows, etc. So, yeah, thank you for watching this video. I hope you learned and enjoyed something. I hope you enjoyed these reactions. I enjoy reacting to things, and yeah, apparently people get clicks for doing these reaction videos. So, I do like clicks. Give me clicks. Give me comments. Give me whatever. Give me all the stats that YouTube's likes. Yeah. Well, if you make YouTube's happy, you make me happy. So, yeah. Give me all those things. Yeah. Press the thing button and then smash that other thing. All the good happy YouTube things, and then I'll keep making videos like this. All right. See you in the next video. Peace.